It's going to be a special week here at Politics and Religion. It's going to be very interesting. Starting tomorrow, I will be broadcasting from the floor of our Pentecostal conference. So we'll be having some interesting guests as the week goes on. However, right now, we're talking about an article that just appeared, Our Future, Empty Pockets, Except for Our Phones. Let me just give you the first paragraph of this article. This comes from CNN. Here's a googly vision for the future. We definitely hope one day you can walk out of the house with your phone in your hand and nothing else, said Mark Fried-Finnegan, the company's product manager for Google Wallet. It aims to digitize everything in your pockets in coming years by collapsing all that paper, plastic, and metal into one device, the smartphone. The idea of using the mobile phone as a credit card, driver's license, transit pass, digit coupon collector, house key, hotel key, corporate ID, and more probably sounds pretty sci-fi future-y, but it's almost practical when you consider the history of the smartphone. So all of us have seen this coming for a long time, and actually they have been doing this for quite a while in Japan, at least 5 years. Also South Korea, those two areas are very technologically advanced. So it's pretty interesting, but now then we have the muscle of Google behind this thing. They now want to put this in action. Of course, every move that is made is a moneymaker of some sort or the other. Obviously, if you use your Google Wallet, as they like to call it, to pay for your groceries, to pay for your gasoline, I'm sure that there's going to be a fee in there. I mean, after all, you use your credit card right now, the merchant pays a fee. What is it, 2 or 3%? If you use a Visa card or a MasterCard, something like that. Anyway, I mean, those fees can add up pretty hefty. I know here at Endtime Ministries, we pay those fees, and it just depends on how much money we process. But for big merchants, it could be absolutely, I mean, you take a Walmart, I'm sure you're talking about $100,000 a month or more. I don't know. But anyway, that's the kind of money we're talking about here. It's no wonder that the race is on to provide the electronic wallet. But anytime we see these advancements, frankly, I'll tell you, I like all of the tech stuff. I mean, I like my smartphone. I like my computer. They're tools for me, and they make my life more efficient. So I like these things, but at the same time, I find myself resisting certain aspects of it because I know where it's headed, and I don't want to go where it is headed. And I think it would be really good before we actually dive in here to actually start talking about where all this in reality is really headed. Because what we're really talking about here is a prophecy in the Bible where the day will come that you won't even be able to operate without your electronics. The Bible teaches a time when every person will have to receive a mark or a number without which they will be unable to buy or sell. Now, let's stop a minute. If we're not careful, we can say some things so many times and so often that they become time-worn, they become somewhat trite. We say them, we don't even hear them. But I want to stop a minute. The Bible specifically prophesies a time when all of us will have a mark or a number that we will use for buying and selling. Now, we know that right now you can pick up the phone and you can order something over the phone, and you can give them your number, and it will arrive the next day on your doorstep if the firm offers overnight shipping. Convenient? You better believe it is. Most of us really like it. Is that evil? No, it's not evil. However, where it's leading us is going to end up being the ultimate evil. So how do we function in this modern technological society without selling our soul? That's the big question. Now, some people deal with this by just not using the computer, by not having a smartphone, just by dragging their feet and saying, I'm not going. However, they obviously limit themselves from functioning in our world. I mean, I'm using all these tools right now while I'm speaking to you. I'm not even plugged into the internet right now. I have my wireless card in the side of my computer, my USB slot, and it's hooked up by wireless. It's picking up the signal, and then I've got a soft phone plugged into another USB port besides that one, and that's what I'm talking to right now. It's sending the message out over the card, and then this message is going back to my office, and they then blast it out all over the world. So do I love this technology? You better believe. I mean, I could realistically, I could broadcast from almost anywhere in the world as long as my wireless card is able to get a signal. I can actually do end-time broadcasts from all over the world. Well, that's incredibly convenient. I'm looking forward to the day when I stand on the Temple Mount in Jerusalem and do a broadcast from the Temple Mount. Stand on the Mount of Olives, do a broadcast from the Temple Mount. I mean, we're almost there. I'm not sure we're not there. Now that I'm actually doing something for the first time today, and that's broadcasting using a wireless card. I was pushed into it because the hotel where I am, the computer signal is sluggish. It's very slow. Well, I plugged my wireless card in, and it was faster than my computer signal. Well, if I don't have a fast enough connection that I can't use my soft phone, it will start garbling, and then you would hear a garbled mess out there. So when I saw that my wireless was the fastest connection, I thought, hey, let's try this. So really, we're plowing new ground here today at Politics Religion. You're hearing me unhooked, no wires. I'm just out there, so I could literally travel around. I'm in Louisville, Kentucky right now, but I could travel wherever as long as I can get a decent signal on my wireless card. Then this technology is amazing. Now, the time is going to come, I mean real shortly now, within a matter of a couple of years max, when I can literally be anywhere and broadcast from anywhere in the world. That's an amazing thing. And we like these technological advances. However, there are people who fully intend, there are people who believe that it's their calling to turn this world into one vast, efficient machine so that everybody is connected. Everybody's connected every place, everywhere, to everything, which means that you would be living in a glass house all the time. Everywhere you go, every purchase you make, every phone call you make. I saw an article today, and just talking about it reminds me of it. Let me slide down there and see if I can find it for you, because Governor Brown of California, here it is, he has vetoed a law, and his veto will allow warrantless cell phone searches. So the people of California became alarmed, and what happened was both houses of Congress in California passed laws. The Senate approved the bill by 70-0. That actually was the Assembly, the state assembly, and the Senate passed it 32-4. So overwhelming in both houses, they passed this bill. But what does Governor Brown do? He vetoes it. So right now, it is the law in California that if police stop you, they can actually search your cell phone without a warrant. That means they can read every email you've got, all the history, all your contact numbers. They just passed that bill in America, in California, right now. Police stop you, cell phone, please. who you've been talking to, how long you've been talking, have you been talking while you've been driving in your car, what have you been reading, what websites have you been visiting. I mean, do you understand that our Bill of Rights protects us against warrantless seizures and searches? But Governor Brown just kicked the Bill of Rights right smack dab in the teeth. So this technology is wonderful. But what's this brave new world that we're traveling into? Well, the Bible says it this way. The Bible teaches that once global governance finishes its work so that we have a system of global government, which is where we're headed, the people run the world, such as the Bushes, the Obamas, the Clintons, and all the rest, the Tony Blairs, the people who are running the world, they have a vision, and they're working together to establish this vision, a vision in which there will be no nations. They say nations are the reason we have war. So if we're going to get rid of war, let's get rid of nations. And if you go to the United Nations, you can see one huge department that's devoted to disarmament, why the whole world should disarm. Well, except for the United Nations, of course. So once we get all the guns collected, there are no guns, then what happens if UN soldiers come knocking on your door? Well, you're going to let them in. They got guns, you don't. You have no choice. There's no recourse. So you say, oh, you're getting crazy now. Oh, no, I'm not getting crazy. This is exactly what they have in mind. The United Nations hates our Second Amendment, the right to keep and bear arms, which our forefathers put in the Bill of Rights just to guard us against what is happening right now. They knew what it was like to be defenseless before a stifling kingship, a stifling totalitarian government. They knew what that was like. And so they said, we can't go there anymore. We've got to find a way to protect our people from doing this. And so they did. They protected us from it. Well, we're talking today about the electronic wallet, the Google wallet that's coming. You want one? You got to think about it a while before you stick your neck in that noose. And we'll talk about it. We will also take your calls in the second half of the program. 877 Endtime is the number to be on the air with us.